The Prussians and the Imperium as a whole is finally coming to Armoured Clash. Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and Wargames. Today we are covering the news of April for War Cradle, so both for Armoured Clash and Dystopian Wars. I'm going to try to do a little bit fast because, well, the blog was a little bit late. I usually try to do this at my lunch break and I couldn't because they were later today, and thus I'm doing this after work. I'm trying to do this fast before I go back home to my wife. The first release had been teased for a while, and we're very happy. They follow the schedule of one new faction every 2 months. It is going to be the Imperium, and just look at that. So we know the type of box, as always, going to be the same. Some terrains, the rules, the dice, and everything. It's probably the same price, like obviously. This is very much in the Imperium's aesthetics. Lots of giant robots, especially the main behemoth. It's not called a land ship; it's called a behemoth. I learned in the game's term, equivalent of the flagship for Dystopian Wars. We're going to have this, I guess, very small version of the Metzger and the other ones from Dystopian Wars. Lots of tanks, lots of artillery. Let's not waste any time. Let's take a look at those in detail, but let me just say that they look brilliant. I know that Zongo, our Imperium player that is going to be painting those guys, said that he thought they were too shiny. I don't agree. They look brilliant in my opinion, but I do expect them painted at in the very like grim setting by Zongo as soon as he receives the box. The first part of the Imperium is of course the Behemoth. We can see the first version, the Siger, Vitruvian Colossus with this giant, probably electric weapon and this robot hand. Is it a machine gun if you follow my cursor? Maybe yes, maybe no. I love that the head is with little windows. We can really let us understand that it's a command center, and I really like it. It also had this weird, funky little, I don't know, belly guns, but it's quite fun. I do like the appearance. I really wish that in Dystopian Wars we saw the whole entirety of the robot instead of just the torso, but that's a story for another time. And then the Faust, Vitruvian Colossus, probably more melee-oriented version because he has these giant claws. Really excited to see again the the rules for those guys, but yeah, they're gonna look brilliant on the table. Like every behemoth has been a home run for me. Maybe less of the Empire, but this is more a matter of taste. Then you get the Cyan Grenadier Command Platoon and their infantry, the Cyan Grenadiers. They go 6x6 as we have seen on this, because here we have a double dose. So they go 6, so not a horde like the Empire or the Covenant, more like elite like the Union and the Crown. Okay, very well, waiting for them. Probably they're going to have very devastating weapons. I think they're going to be OP because Imperium's always OP. Okay, I'm sorry that I complain, but they're very excited. They're probably going to be more DPS oriented and quite in your face shooting rather than long range shooting as the Crown was. We have a look next to the tanks, the Sturmpanzer battle tanks, which look absolutely insane. Like I love them very very much. Just seeing those guys almost makes me want to play Imperium. Like I mean, trying to focus, but damn, look at this. I'm just not a big fan of this cannon in the front. Probably is going to have some arc restrictions and stuff. But yeah, not a huge fan. Do note that it has what used to be like in Dystopian Wars, they have similar weapons and they are entire weapons. So probably these tanks are going to have inbuilt entire firepower, unlike the Sturmpanzer 010 Siege tank, which have no. They just have an exhaust post, which I guess is because it is heavier, and this probably is going to be siege breaker cannon at the front. Excited to see the rules again. And finally, the coolest one in my opinion, but I love armored transport, the Panzerwagen armored transport, which is going to be probably the way that you will use to transport your Crusaders, those that we will see in a second, your Teutonic Knights. They're probably going to want a very tough transport, the similar way as the Crown has the transport version of the Galahad. I forgot the name. Tristan, was it? Anyway, so the appearance again, damn, that's going to be a chunky block of like just Imperium metal rolling forward. You're also getting some Totenkopfjäger cavalry, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like I'll be honest, I don't know what is this little head here. If you see in my cursor, I don't know what it is. And I don't like the wheel being separated in the front. It looks a bit weird to me, but I mean, why not? Why not? They go 5x5 like most of the cavalry. Uh, I'm sorry, like if you guys understand what, maybe it's a copy of some motorbike that exists in the real life. If yes, do let me know. But I'm really having, maybe it's the paint shop that does it, but I'm having a hard time projecting myself with what it is. Does it even have a cannon or gun? Do they have swords? How they shoot? I don't know. Maybe the um, Orbit will reveal more about this. We continue with the Luftlanzer Jägers, those that are dropped from Zeppelins in the Dystopian Wars game. I do quite like it. Like they have these melee weapons. It's quite rare. Like previously we had close range shooting aerial infantry, aerial like jump infantry. Those look like they're gonna be melee. Makes me wonder like will we have a way to drop those guys behind enemy line? Because if your Luftlancers either go by foot, either need to go in armored transport like any infantry, they kind of lose their thing. Maybe they're going to have Vanguard, and maybe, and this is my fingers crossed, I hope we're going to have some sort of aerial transport somehow to drop those guys. The coolest thing would be if the aircrafts of the Imperium allow us to drop some Luftlancers, but I don't think so. They look like Messerschmitts, so I don't think they're going to have transport capacity. But for melee troops, I'm really willing to see what delivery solutions we have for those guys. And then the Scion Virlings, which have this, again, very, I'm not understanding. Is it a cannon? Is it a bagpipes that they have? Like, I'm sorry, I love the color schemes in terms of color. Like, well, it's my usual color schemes, but I'm not understanding what weapons they have. Let's start with the idea that they have electric weapons or big cannon weapons. I'm guessing they're going to be heavy duty fire infantry. And yeah, they look quite cool. I like also they have the little pointy head from the Germans in the First World War. It's a nice callback. Then we have three versions of the field guns. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually the first time we have different versions for field guns. Usually just basic, well, basic versions, and you have to go with the flow. So here we have the Krupp field guns, probably equivalent of what we have with the Crown, for example, with their own field guns. We have the S.N. rocket field guns, better against light, better range, I'm guessing. Right now, the problem with the field guns is that they are not very efficient, and they're very fragile and they're very quite slow, and then it's a bit hard to get them in good range before they die. So usually what you want to do is put them in reserve and they flank the enemy at the good range, but it's not really with the fantasy of field guns. You don't want surprise field guns, cavalry charge on the flanks. Maybe the SN is going to solve this by having a better range. And finally, the Thunar arc field guns, which probably is going to amplify this even more in the sense that I'm guessing that it's going to have shorter range and more firepower if it's the same functioning as the electric weapons in Dystopian Wars, though this makes me think that these are the kind of guns you will want to deploy entirely like in reserve, because they're probably going to be very expensive, very short range, very powerful. So of course you're going to put them in reserve. But I'm not a big fan of this type of gameplay. If it were like, I don't know, flying infantry that you can deploy from reserve, goes with the fantasy. Like let's imagine there is a plane out of the battlefield and they just arrive. Okay, very well. But for very slow moving field guns, it's not my fantasy to have them just popping behind enemy lines somehow. Okay, now we go with something that is extremely cool, the heavy walkers. And okay, those, first of all, they are incredibly well painted. Congrats to, I think it's Dez that makes the painting, but damn, and they look very brilliant. The Lucifer Heavy Walker is the basic version, probably with a good anti-heavy weapon, some anti-light, and it's basically their own version of a heavy tank. It's going to be a walker, it's going to be less annoyed by the terrain. I'm guessing it's going to be the equivalent of a Sturmpanzer, maybe a bit more expensive and a bit more powerful. I am guessing, but damn, it's very iconic. The Donnerschlag Artillery Valkers is probably my favorite miniature of the entire Imperium range. Like damn, like Zongo told me that it looks like a BattleTech miniature, and it does. Like this artillery piece in the rear with a little artillery like blockhouse on the sides. Like this looks incredible, and I love it, and I want 10 of those. Like they look insane, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna see exactly the Donnerschlag variant very soon once the army is painted. Finally, the Sturmreis Arc Walker is probably going to be, you guessed it, it's going to be a point blank firepower thing. It's going to be very expensive. You're going to need to hide it a little bit. Maybe it's even going to be an automata if it's the same as the Union. I don't think so. Maybe not, because Imperium is supposed to have better control of this technology, but we'll take a look. They do still have a command post there, so yeah. It does look like a bunker. I just realized the head. Like it looks like a walking bunker. Funny. And then your heavy infantry to be carried in your Sturmwagen was the name, the Teutonic Armiger Castellans. So they seem to have a shield. In the artwork, it was for sure a shield. So that's gonna be it with little guys here and there in the back, like squires. This is like the electric one, so probably point blank firepower. You just go out, you shoot. Is it gonna? It's probably gonna be arc weapons, the same as the Union, so you can spike very hard because on every six that you do, like every super hit, you make 3 hits instead of two, so that's good. And the other version is the Crusaders with the shield and the mace. And I'm sorry, this is the Dark Angel all over again. It looks brilliant. I really love it. I hope we have a way to just project the Storm Panzers and to deploy and to charge right away. And this would be lovely. And this really feels like it could be faction defining. For now, we had the Covenant as the melee factions. Do expect like as soon as the Orbat is finalized for the Enlightened to have my how to start with the Covenant. I'm sorry it's late, but it's still in beta. I wouldn't like to not publish a video that is immediately obsolete. I would like to make a coverage once we have the final rules, but do expect it. And spoiler, they are melee faction, and this looks like a very good answer to melee factions to have squadrons of Teutonic Crusaders. They go 6x6, and so you're gonna have a lot of them to just hold the line and punch through the horde of undead steampunk zombies. Doesn't it sound so cool? Let's finish with the last few units, the Science Heavy Dreirad. I'm not sure what it means. You have two versions of this bike, the Virling and the Heavy. So this looks like an anti-air, like the Virling was anti-air. It's almost the same bits in the Dystopian Wars. And this is probably going to be either arc, from what I see, either regular cannon. So you're going to have both of those. Do note that aircrafts are finally coming. We didn't receive ours yet, but do expect an unboxing and everything once we have it and once we have the rules. But to have a mobile entire force is going to be efficient. The Empire has it, and I think they're going to be very happy to have it. For example, my Union has very slow anti-air, like it's infantry, literally infantry. So the enemy can just go where you are not, which is annoying, while the Germans, like the Imperium, will be able to deploy their troops wherever they need to be. So they provide anti-air coverage. Last unit, the Sturmwagen transport. So I was very wrong about when I called the Sturmwagen before. Panzerwagen is the name of the transport, the heavy transport. Okay, so Sturmwagen is the basic transport. Like they look a little bit like the landing crafts from the Normandy landing in a way, except or maybe they look like those Krieg transport in Warhammer 40,000. Anyway, they look very German in this sense, like very Second World War. Absolutely love it. And those are gonna be the way that you transport your basic infantry, like science grenadiers. Probably is going to be like a match made in heaven. I wish they had a little, I don't know, uh, gun or something. I imagine the Imperium to have more like fire support, like to have the infantry walking alongside the transport once the infantry has disembarked, because those look very tough, those Sturmwagen, and not very fast. I thought this would be the gimmick of the Imperium, apparently not, but again, we'll have to wait and see for the final rules. We have the terrain, those things. I'm so very sorry. I'm skipping fast. I need to go home. My wife is waiting for me. But you've seen, we've talked about this every single time. It's always a very good deal to have the starter set because you have those basically for free. And the terrain is very important in this game. The introductory set is going to be basically half of the starter set, minus also the giant robot. But you have an exclusive version of the command platoon. So it's going to be this guy, I guess, with the very cool coat and the robot dog. Amazing. It's made of resin. You can only have it here. Otherwise, you have everything. Pro tip, like we start to understand now the scale of the game and everything. If you want to start the game and to make like normal size game, like 1,000 points, 1,500, take the Battlegroup starter set and the introductory starter set. First of all, you're going to have the resin commander, and then you're going to start to have enough to make a full strength unit. For example, you're going to have 4 tanks, the Sturm Panzer from the big box at 150 euros minus 15% if you go on my hobby place, and then you can choose Love Wargames. Thanks you very much if you do that. So 4 tanks from this plus 2 from what I'm showing right now at the screen from the introductory set. You have 6, which means that you can make a full strength tank unit, which is sometimes what you want to do to make a good first game. But then again, I understand it's an investment. If you want just to dip your toes into Armoured Clash, you can absolutely take the introductory starter set, just paint it. It's already quite a lot of miniatures, as you can see. Make a little demo game at a low scale, and then you see if you want to play Armoured Clash or not. This is not everything because yes, there's gonna be a release for Dystopian Wars, and it's quite interesting. It's gonna be a full resin pack, the Alliance Salvador Squadron for the S.U.S.A, so Socialist Union of South America. So you have those very nice looking ships actually. I know that many people don't who didn't like the Union before said like, okay, I don't like Union, I don't like S.U.S.A, but those look very cool. And I have to admit, like they look, I really like their appearance. They have these paddle wheels on the side, these dawn wheel as we say in France, like robe, but they have this command center, the Citadel, that looks a little bit modern even. And I'm very much enjoying them, and you can absolutely expect to see them once I get them painted. Karun, you can, no, maybe it's gonna be our Union painter because yeah, I'm gonna do this in the Union color scheme. You cannot stop me. We're gonna have two versions: the Salvador class Battlecruiser, which was something that we really waited for a while. Apparently, it's literally a Battlecruiser in the sense it doesn't have a lot of rules to boost the other units with a command code or anything like this. They're just going to be cheap, tough battle cruisers that unlock the battle fleets. And that's already good. I mean, you do like your Colombia to lead your alliance battle fleets, but to have Salvador class, we need to see their point cost to see if they're going to be a tax or not. If there was only French in the alliance, I would say, damn, this is allows you finally to have some tough ships to hold the line for your alliance. And sometimes you only want a couple Salvadors as a commander ships, and then you can have some tough ships. But the Italians are here as well for the alliance, so you have access to tough ships. In this sense, I believe that the Salvador will need to be a good battle cruiser in and of itself to justify taking in an alliance list. But again, we have no idea. It's just been announced, so we have no idea what the rules are going to be. What we can say is that it has two heavy gun battery to the front. It looks like there's going to be some rockets in the front that maybe if we have a spoiler from another unit, maybe it's going to be replaceable with small gun battery. That would be amazing. With torpedo turrets, also good. And well, we'll see how it goes. We can see torpedo turrets in the rear. If they can shoot to the front, I will be a very happy man. Remember that Alliance has coordinated support, so all their weapons get coordinated together, even though they have a little malus, but we're not going to go too much in detail. I really like the appearance of the whole thing. With it looks, I love the Salvador. Well, I love Union in general anyway. There is another version that you can build, which looks absolutely devastating, but this is probably going to be very expensive. You trade the ability to have rocket turrets in the front, but you don't mind, because you replace it with two heat lance to the front and two heat lancets to the rear, plus a Solex generator. So this thing is basically a little magenta. I'm barely exaggerating. Uh, if the heat lancet can shoot to the front, yeah, it's going to be basically a magenta. So need to see the price of this thing, but if this thing gets at point blank, it will absolutely obliterate something. If it's tough, like I mean, it will completely invalidate the magenta, which is, yes, it's faster. Yes, that's true. But a Francisco is going to be tough, and you can just throw it in reserve, and then it's just going to obliterate something. And then he's going to stay there because magenta just dies after something. So excited to see this. Need to be very careful with the point cost, because if it's cheap and tough and it has these weapons, like I'm telling you, this makes with these weapons, if the heat lancet shoot to the front, it makes a double citadel on almost anything at point blank. And I'm barely exaggerating. If it has heavy firepower, even a Tirpitz is going with a double citadel with this. So again, we don't know the rules yet. Let's not cry to the wolf. If we receive it, then for sure we're gonna make an unboxing and a detailed review of the rules and etc. But very excited for this, just for the ability to have some variety in your S.U.S.A list. Like if you want to play pure S.U.S.A, you finally can. You have your own true S.U.S.A ship, which is very cool. I'm really excited to play full S.U.S.A game at some point with the Columbia, maybe the Virginia, well, the named version of the Columbia for the Alliance, and some Salvadors and some old Union or Wars. It's gonna look amazing on the table. All right, that's it. Thanks for having watched until the end. I'm sorry it was short, but I'm really pressed by the time. Next time, please put the blog at the right time, guys. Um, if you have any questions about those, if you're excited, do let us know in the comments. You know the game. You can, if you put a comment, you can gain an Union Armada or a Duegum Force for Conquest. Link in the description for the Discord where you can play video games with us and get even more tickets to try to gain stuff. Do expect more videos very soon. Like we have, of course, the Enlightened battle group coming very soon, and I have recorded, and I just need to find a slot to release it. An absolutely massive 2 hours video, how to start Conquest in 2025, analyzing every single starter. Do expect it in the coming days, probably just before the weekend, so you have time to watch it because it's a very long video, very detailed, and we have more and more videos coming very soon. Thank you guys, take care of yourself, and until the next video, remember to keep things fair in love and war games. Bye.